there. Welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is your lactation consultant, Diane. I did that backwards, but that's okay. Y'all know what I mean.
I'm the Badass Breastfeeder, Abby. And
just to stay in sync with each other. That's what we'll do.
And today's episode is brought to you by Fairhaven Health. Milky's Nipple Nurture Balm is your organic and lanolin-free answer to sore or cracked nipples. And today's episode is also brought to you by the Motif Luna Breast Pump, and it's covered by insurance and proven to provide more milk in less time. But we will hear more from our sponsors later. For now, you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page if you need anything. See if you can give them any of your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we will send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And check out our shop page. Are people checking out our shop page? Because you should, because the merch is really cool. And we are on Patreon, and we would really like to see you over there because we are sharing lots of things. It's a really active Patreon place. We have mini podcasts. We have extra episode podcasts. We have Zoom hangouts where we're just chatting and chilling. We also have all of our Revolution Parenting episodes are going to be posted over there monthly. And what else?
I'm proud of our little space.
I know it's really fun and people are really having a good time. And I just remembered that we had a couple of new, either one or two or something, new people come on. And so they get a shout out. And let me get there. So we have Teresa, who has joined us, Kimberly G, Joanna B. Welcome to Patreon. And shout out. And it's really cool. Like, you should come and check it out. You can check out the benefits by clicking the link that it's at the very top of the notes under the episode, wherever you're listening from. It'll be down there. Just scroll down. Or you can go to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, and we have the link over there too, I think, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Now that I say that, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, we do. We have it over on our Patreon. I think if there's a page, our patrons. Or no, Wall of Fame?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it's over there.
Wall of Fame.
That's one of the benefits, is being added to the Wall of Fame. And what else am I talking about? Oh, we're doing our ongoing giveaway. Send us a screenshot of your review wherever on the internet, or your review or your stars or whatever. Send it to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you a goodie bag of stickers and thank you for nursing in public cards. And I believe now Diane has our review of the week.
And this says, Abby sent this to me, which was awesome. I listen on Spotify, so there's no option to leave. No, it's not Abby's review. No, it just went to Abby. That's all.
Went to our email.
I listen on Spotify, so there's no option to leave a written review there, just a rating, which of course I gave you 5 stars. I listen every single day on my way to work with my son in the back seat. And honestly, I think he has grown to love your voices as much as mine, because I think he hears them just about as much. I have learned so much from listening to your podcast. I went into my pregnancy thinking that I did not want to breastfeed. I just wanted to do formula, and ended up breastfeeding after learning a little bit of facts, but still felt fairly uncomfortable, whether it be because no one in my family had really breastfed or not many of my friends. Whatever the case may be, your podcast has helped me feel so much more comfortable and proud and confident to breastfeed. And I know I'm doing the best I can for my son. I can't say enough good things about you both and your podcast. I could probably go on for a lengthy period of time about all the specific facts and things like that you have helped me with, but I'll just leave it at this. Keep doing what you're doing. I love listening. You start my day off on the right foot, and I really appreciate all that you do and put into this podcast for everyday moms like me. You've definitely earned a lifetime listener here. So I think that it's, again, another person who went into it not thinking she was not going to breastfeed and ended up breastfeeding. And I am just like so thrilled that we helped with that. So congratulations to you and your little boy. Yeah. And you're doing awesome. So thank you so much. And thank you for leaving the stars on Spotify for us. That means a lot. And a lot of people leave stars and then they'll send us a screenshot of the star. So that was nice that she sent us a little thing too. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much. And we had a lot of new reviews come through this week. So that was cool. So now I've got a lot of goodie bags going out this week. So
yeah, cool.
I know I had to order more bags.
Oh,
so fun.
That's a good sign.
It is. Yeah. And today we haven't done, I was telling Abby, we haven't done a solids episode in a while.
We haven't.
So this is, so I was kind of excited to do another solids episode because this, I mean, I get a lot of people that talk that they're doing fine, right? You start breastfeeding when your baby's newborn and you have questions and worries and some concerns, and then all of a sudden things are going good for a while, and then you start solids and you have more questions and more worries and more concerns, and how's this going to impact breastfeeding, and am I doing it right, and this is,
and then you have your doctor telling you you're doing it wrong and you have to do this and this and this, and he gives you all these terrible things that are just not true. That's why we're spitting it into a myths episode, because there's just so many terrible,
and the internet,
so much terrible information. And before we get into the myths, I was looking around on the internet and I found this thing that I want to read. It is too good not to share. It's called On Starting Solids. It's by Eleanor Goulding Smith. And apparently it's from this book, The Complete Book of Absolutely Perfect Baby and Child Care.
Oh.
From 1957.
Oh.
But you're going to read it. I mean, I'm going to read it and you're going to, it is absolutely hilarious in a fantastic way. So I'm going to read it. It's kind of long, not super long. Okay. In the beginning, all you have to cram into the baby is milk and vitamins. But one day the pediatrician will say, now you may start the baby on mashed banana or baby cereals or something mushy. Here again, it is easy enough for the pediatrician to say it. He doesn't have to come and get it into the baby. That's your department. Should you feed him the mashed banana before he drinks his milk when he's very hungry and therefore much more likely to try something new? Or if he's very hungry, will something other than milk make him very angry and make him unable to take solid foods as long as he lives? Or if you give it to him after the milk when he's feeling full, will he reject it because he's not hungry and never in his entire life eat solid food? In fact, is it even possible to feed a baby anything but milk? This is a crucial moment. The baby cannot go through life on milk. The doctor has spoken. You have got to get that food into him. Get on the phone again. Consult all of your relatives who have ever had babies. Go out again and consult all the mothers in your neighborhood. Ask the elevator man on the way. You will soon find that you are the only one who has any difficulty in the matter at all. The first mother you meet didn't give her baby mashed banana. She gave hers pablum.
The hell is that?
It's rice cereal, basically.
Oh, okay.
What kind of pediatrician do you have anyway? And there is no problem about when to give it. She gave hers the pablum before the milk, and the baby didn't like it, but she got it into him anyway. After all, she says the baby doesn't know what's good for him. The second mother didn't give hers solid food until he was 6 months old. What kind of pediatrician do you have anyway? And she gave it after the milk, and he loved it the very first time. The third mother gave hers strained liver when he was only 4 weeks old. And what kind of pediatrician do you have anyway? She gave it in the middle of a feeding. It made him throw up, but after all, it's the experience that counts. So you go home and you try it before the milk, during the milk, and after the milk. But yours doesn't like it at any time, so you try cereal. He doesn't like that either. Now the problem has developed. Here is the baby, and he refuses to eat solid food. Solid, in this case, is an euphemism for squishy. Are you a failure as a parent? Is he a failure as a baby? Is the pediatrician a failure as a pediatrician? Would the baby rather have a hot pastrami sandwich? This brings us to the primary rule of baby raising, which is the solution to this and all subsequent problems. The rule must be followed faithfully and practiced regularly, and you should make it a habit to repeat it to yourself 10 times a day. It's the golden rule of raising babies. Lie. Lie to your mother, lie to the sisters, lie to your aunts, and above all, lie to all the other mothers you meet on the street. When a new mother, newer than you, asks you for help, tell her you never had the least problem. Your baby just loved his mashed bananas on the first try. The end.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I thought that was hysterical.
It is. Because it's still like that.
It is,
and that
so
was 1955.
True. Yeah.
And it's still like that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I was just like, I found that on Kelly Mom. There was just like a link to it. Of course, Kelly Mom has all the greatest stuff.
I know.
But we do have, who cannot relate to that? It's like, no one else has a problem. Everything that people are telling you to do isn't working. Your doctor's telling you this. Everyone's telling you this. And also, all the other parents who don't remember anymore never had any problems.
Of course. Yeah.
So let's get started on some solid myths. My first myth is that baby needs to slow down their nursing in order to make more room for food.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that your doctor will likely tell you. That at some point, your baby is 6 months old, whatever, tiny baby, and they're ready to start solids now, and they're not really taking it. There must be something wrong. They must be full. There must be some reason why they're not really interested in the solids. And therefore, you have to cut back on the breastfeeding so that they'll eat more solids. That is just not true at all.
Mm-mm.
You want to maximize the breast milk really for as long as you can. For as long as you're breastfeeding, you want the breast milk. That is the most nutrient dense food that your baby really is ever going to have. So not only do you not stop breastfeeding, but you always breastfeed first. Always be giving the milk. Always breastfeed first. And then offer the solids. And your baby is likely not going to ingest anything at first. They don't know how. They don't know how to move food around in their mouth and swallow it. They just don't know. That's why they're practicing. This is practice.
They just make a mess at first.
Yeah, they're getting to know the texture of it. They're getting to know what it's like to grasp food, bring their hand to their mouth, open their mouth, put it inside, move it around. We are overlooking how intensely new of a process this is for a baby.
Very, very new experience for them.
So what do you have?
That the baby will sleep.
Oh, God. Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah, I knew you were going to have that one too.
Yeah.
But that's, of course, the first thing I thought of, because that's always one of the things that said, we'll give your baby solids and they're going to sleep. Well, once your baby has some solids, they're going to sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not the case. It is researched to be not the case. And there's a lot of parents that will tell you, my baby still doesn't sleep, and they've had solids for 6 months. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're not going to sleep longer.
They're not. And
solids.
People go so far as to say, even babies that are a couple of months old, put rice cereal in the bottle.
Yeah. It's not.
And first of all, you don't want your baby to be knocked out on so much food that they're in like a comatose food state.
Right. Like,
that's
they just had a
safe.
Thanksgiving dinner. No,
right.
It's not.
Yeah. No, that is not safe for a baby. They're not supposed to be in those deep sleeps. They're not supposed to be overfed until they can't stay awake anymore.
Mm-mm.
This is not safe. It does not make them sleep longer.
No.
It might make them pass out. If they're over full, it might make them sleepy, but you don't want that.
No.
It won't make them sleep longer. Definitely not.
All right. What's your next one?
Well, okay. So you need to start with rice cereal.
Oh my God, that's what I had.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this thing out there. I think I've told the story a million times on the podcast, but I went to the pediatrician, this first pediatrician that we went to with Jack. And she was just she was so new. She had no idea how to field questions. And she was like, okay, so you're going to start with rice cereal, then you're going to do vegetables, and then you're going to do meats. And I don't know. She was laying out this equation. And I was like, why do you start with rice cereal? And she was like, I don't know. That's just what they told us. I'm like, well, that is not a good reason.
No.
That is not a great reason and not a great answer. But you see all these things about rice cereal, and you're supposed to start with that. And there are plenty of people that don't want to give their babies processed food. And you don't have to. You don't have to at all. Start with whatever. Start with something mushy, like in the story of the banana. Something that you have in your house.
Right.
You don't have to go out and get something special.
There's a pediatrician once that told me that you could start with meat because iron is important for babies at that stage. And, you can just starting with meats is fine.
And remember, they're not going to be eating this right away. There's the reflex. Okay, we can get into this now. There's the reflex that the tongue, the tongue reflex, the tongue thrust reflex, which will just automatically push solid foods out of the baby's mouth anyway. It's involuntary. It goes away at some point, but there's not a magic day that this goes away. And your baby likely has never had solid foods in their mouth. They're not going to just be like, oh, yes, that's very tasty. Thank you. I'm going to swallow this and eat. Like, they don't know how to do that. They're probably going to move their tongue away and around in a way that looks really funny to you and just pushes the food out. And that's fine. That's the stage that they're in. You don't have to worry about them, eating it, swallowing it, whatever. Start with whatever you have in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Something that they won't choke on. That's all we got to do.
Absolutely.
All right. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right. We'll be right back. Are you in search of the perfect pump for your breastfeeding days? The Motif Luna breast pump is covered by insurance and proven to provide more milk in less time. The Motif Luna is lightweight, sleek, quiet, and customizable so you can quickly find what works best for you and your baby. The Luna also features a backlit LCD screen, built-in nightlight, closed system, quiet motor, and auto shutoff. And the battery-powered model gives you even more freedom and flexibility with a rechargeable battery that lasts over 2 hours. In a third-party study, 5 out of 6 moms reported more milk in less time than the leading pump brands. The expression mode works to express milk from the breast as efficiently as possible, while the massage mode will stimulate letdown by mimicking baby's natural nursing pattern. Get ready to make your pumping days easier with the Motif Luna. Head to Motif Medical, that's MOTIF Medical, and use code BABF23, and you will receive 15% off of your purchase. And today's episode is also brought to you by Fairhaven Health. If you're struggling with sore nipples, you need pain relief fast. And when sore nipples turn to cracked nipples, forget about it. It's enough to want to call it quits. Damaged nipples can cause real problems with successfully breastfeeding your baby. Check with a lactation consultant that your baby is getting a good latch and get some Milky's Nipple Nurture Balm. Nipple Nurture Balm is formulated to soothe, protect, and heal sore or cracked nipples. This nipple balm is made with organic herbal ingredients and combined with natural moisturizers to help provide relief and to heal affected areas and even prevent cracks from reappearing. Nipple Nurture Balm alleviates the discomfort so the joy can be restored to your special bonding time. It's safe for both parent and baby, and there is no need to wipe it off before breastfeeding. Head to fairhavenhealth.com, that's FAIRHAVEN health.com, and use code BADASS for 15% off your purchase. And our promo codes and the sponsors and the links can all be found in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from. Also at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. And at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, you'll find all of our other episodes and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Diane.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Starting solids at 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
So don't do it.
Don't do that.
And a lot of times you'll go to your 4-month appointment and they'll say, oh, you can start solids anytime. That doesn't mean you have to start solids at 4 months. It's better to wait until 6 months. Everything says 6 months. I don't even know why pediatricians tell you that, because everything says 6 months. Even the AAP says 6 months. So it is better for your baby. It has shown when you start your babies at 4 months, there's a higher risk of obesity. There's a higher risk of allergies. Very likely they're going to reject it anyway, because there is more of that tongue thrusting motion happening still at 4 months. You are supposed to wait until your baby can sit up unassisted, until that tongue thrusting is not as obvious. And neither one of those things are happening at 4 months. So waiting until your baby is 6 months old is a lot safer. It's better for them. And it's just, I mean, it's just so much better. It's just better for your baby. So try to avoid starting at 4 months. We know that your pediatrician might say, oh, go ahead and get him started. And it's exciting, right? Like parents a lot of times can't wait.
Yes.
To get started.
I was just going to say that. People get really, really excited. I did too. It was like it's really fun to do new things with your baby. It just, it is. There's no denying it. And people get really excited to do this. But this is something that is really much safer and much better and much healthier for your baby to wait.
To wait until 6 months. Yeah, for sure. Right. What you got?
All right. I have got, I think I just have more things that you also had. So I'm going to be spontaneous right now and make one up on the spot so that I can say something else. You hear a lot of times, if the baby is old enough to eat solid foods, then they don't need to breastfeed. Or you hear it more put in a way like, if your baby can eat a burger, they don't need to be pulling your shirt down.
Oh, yeah.
If this is one of these comments about like people who are continuing to breastfeed. Older babies into toddlerhood, which is something that people think a lot of times we don't see it. We think it shouldn't be done. We think it's weird. We think it's, anyway. That is not true. The World Health Organization, as we say a lot, recommends breastfeeding for at least 2 years. 2 years or beyond 2 years.
Yeah, AAP says that now too.
Yes.
Remember they jumped on that bandwagon last year.
Yes. They changed it from 1 to 2?
Mm-hmm.
And it was one, yeah. So now we all, science agrees, even these health organizations agree that at least 2 years, children should be breastfeeding, should be having breast milk. And solid foods is introduced slowly along with that, because your baby or your toddler is not going to be ingesting large amounts of this food where it's like, okay, well, now they're 6 months old, so they can just live off of, bananas and turkey.
No,
that's not true. They cannot just live on that. They need to have breast milk. They need to have that, and they need to maximize that as long as possible. These are complementary foods. This is the start of an entire process that's going to take years for your baby to adjust from breast milk to solids. So for now, it is complementary.
Mm-hmm. Don't give allergens until a year. And that is stuff like peanuts. Mm-hmm. Well, don't give your baby like peanuts, but don't sit down and give them a bunch of shelled peanuts, but like peanut butter, nut butters, things like that. It used to be wait until they're a year old. Egg, wait until they're a year old before you give them anything like that. Now they're saying give it to them at 6 months. Start them with those allergens. Get them going on it, because then their system, then their system is going to be, more prone to it or whatever, like more used to it. Don't wait a long period of time. You can go ahead and start them on those things as soon as you want to. There's no waiting a lot of mine that I have left, like some of them, there is no specific order anymore to these foods. And it used to be that, you had to start with one thing. You had to start with cereal. You had to then move on to this, then move on to this, then move on to this. It's not like that anymore. You don't have to do any of those things. You don't have to have it be that structured.
Right.
And I know that when we start solids, a lot of times people are looking for structure. Well, what do I do?
Exactly. Because it's confusing. We don't know. It's like, I've never done this before. How am I supposed to know when to give it, what to give, how much to give? You're just worried all the time as a parent, first of all. And now there's this whole new thing. And I know this, and we know this because we get tons and tons of questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
People are really stressed about it.
They are. This is really stressful for parents. It's exciting. I mean, because 2 minutes ago we just said, everybody wants to start because it's fun. But it is stressful because people are like, what the hell do I give my kid? I mean, you feel like you're running out of stuff to give them. What do I give them? I don't know what to give them. We're hopefully going to make this a little bit easier for you today because we're taking away a lot of the rules that are out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the other things is people say you have to do the vegetables before the fruit.
No.
Because babies will learn to like the sweetness of the fruit.
Oh my God.
And they won't want vegetables.
That sounds like some fucking food pyramid, creepy, elementary school, tied to the dairy farm lobbyists, something weirdness.
Yeah.
What is that? What? And I know
I used to hear that all the time.
I know. And that totally came, that whole food pyramid thing, that totally came from the dairy industry.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're prioritizing your foods and, you have to have this. And that all comes from food corporations.
Yeah. You don't have to do that. And it was funny because the thing that I was reading was breast milk is sweet.
Yes.
And it is.
Breast milk is super sweet so that the baby will drink it and like it.
And babies they've researched this. Babies like sweet things. Who doesn't? It doesn't mean your baby's going to live on candy. That's not what that means.
First of all, fruit is not the same as a Snickers bar.
Right.
We are not talking about the same kind of sugar. And this is another thing that is just terrible information. You people, it's a sweet thing. So they're, it's dessert. It's like chocolate cake.
Right.
No, it's not. No. It's a fruit. It came from a tree. Some things on planet Earth are sweet. Why does everything have to be miserable? Mother Nature put all these sweet things around. You're allowed to eat it.
Yeah, you can give your baby applesauce.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I know. And people just, we got to start with a veggie. We have to start with a veggie.
Oh, that's going to make them hate it. When you push food onto kids, do we have I feel like we have a Revolution Parenting episode about food.
We do. Yes, yeah. We do.
That's another reason.
I am such a huge, I know. I am so against that food pushing. Oh my God.
Yeah. When you push food onto your kid at all, they are going to resist.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates this whole emotional thing with eating. And that starts right now with the way that we're handling food. Give foods that are enjoyable. You don't have to give, if you gave your baby chocolate mousse pie, they would love it. But you don't give that to them, obviously. If you give them a banana and they love it, cool. Bananas are fantastic for you. It's just insane.
And there's so many and I know a lot of people make their own baby food, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
If you don't have to make your own baby food. Don't feel like you're a half-assed parent if you don't make your own baby food, because it's totally okay. But there was the breastfeeding group that I do on Mondays. One of the moms her baby is 7 months. So she's, just starting with things, and her toddler didn't finish a pouch. So she was letting him finish the pouch. And it was spinach with blueberries and pears or something like that. And I'm that doesn't even sound appealing. And somebody else was well, actually, a spinach salad with blueberries. And I'm okay, that sounds more, better. But you just don't think of mushy, spinach with, but there's so much vegetables that are mixed with fruits now too, to make it more appealing. There's vegetables that are fruits that people think are
yes.
vegetables that are fruit.
Oh my God. My husband will not eat fruit. He is like so anti-fruit. Like he's got just like, it's
Anti-fruit. Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Seriously. It's like a political party to him. He's like, he's anti-fruit. He is disgusted by fruit. He can't, it's like, it makes his stomach turn. He can't even think about it. I don't know what happened to him as a child, something. But the man eats tomatoes like crazy. And my kids never, ever miss an opportunity to tell him that. They're like, tomatoes are fruit, right? And he's just like, stop saying that. It's so funny.
We went through this thing last summer where we were looking up what was a vegetable and what was a fruit.
Yeah, because you'd be shocked at how much is actually a fruit.
Everything was a fruit. I was like, well, what the hell is a vegetable? What is a vegetable? I don't understand. There's just
not that many.
So if you really,
there's not that many, so they had to like give vegetables some friends.
I know
They're like, you go over, sit there with the kids that aren't that cool. They could go. You need to include those kids too.
But really, half the stuff that I thought was a vegetable was not.
Yep.
So like
peppers.
Yeah, all of that stuff's a fruit.
Like what? Yeah, it's all fruit.
It's all fruit.
It's just not as sweet, maybe, as like a strawberry.
Yeah.
And so it gets put in a different section in the grocery store, and then we all get like brainwashed.
It's got a seed.
Anyway,
it's a fruit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the only things that we saw that was like a vegetable was like lettuce, certain lettuces, kale, like stuff like that, like cruciferous stuff, broccoli.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot. Carrots, I think, are vegetable. Carrots are vegetable.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is you can skip the rice cereal. We only have a few minutes left, so we got to get down. We got to get down to the facts.
And I do have another good one too. Okay. So yeah, we got to. Yeah.
Let me just say, you can skip the rice cereal. You can skip that jarred baby food. You don't need any of that. You can just start with what you have in your house. What does your family eat? You don't need to go out and buy something special. Don't go out and buy something special unless you want to have to go out and get it all the time now. If you guys are really into bananas, start with a banana. If you guys are really into avocados, cut up some avocados. Like, just look in your refrigerator. It doesn't have to be that hard.
No.
Go.
You don't have to wait between foods. You know how they say, like, start something, wait 4 or 5 days, just, look for allergies. The thing that I was reading said, it is not likely your baby's going to be allergic to everything you give them.
No.
So you do not have to wait days and days between foods. You can give them something and then give them, something different the next day if you want to, or whatever. You don't really need to worry too much about that and really focus on, oh my God, are they going to have a reaction? Are they going to have a reaction? Just give them food and see what they like. And food should be bland. That's my last one. Yeah. That people say don't put anything on their food.
Right.
And you don't need to like put like tons of like salt and pepper, but you can season their food. You can, especially like, and I'm sure there's people listening that are very cultural and have very flavorful foods, and they're totally laughing at us right now.
Right. Try to take people in India. I just say that because I feel like they use a lot of spices in their foods. Yeah. I'm telling them not to give their baby spices. What?
Like, you do not have to give your baby bland food. It doesn't have to be just plain.
Just give them what you eat.
Yeah, give them what you eat.
You guys love like lemon chicken, then let them try some of it. Because that's going to be something in the house a lot.
You have, potatoes with rosemary on them. Give them that. Just don't give them chunks of things. Oh, that was another thing that I saw too. Gagging does not mean they're choking. Gagging is gagging. And people are terrified. That is one of the things that really scares people around starting solids is choking. And gagging or coughing does not mean your baby is choking. It's very, very different. You can look at videos of babies gagging, and it is not choking. Totally not. And they get it up on their own. But I could see where that would be very, very scary.
I mean, it is scary.
When you're first time doing this. But remember, it's not choking if they're just kind of gagging at it. If they're like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, they are not old enough to be able to bring the food to the back of their mouth like that.
Right.
Like they don't have that ability to move the food around in their mouth. Like it's likely not even going to the back of their mouth.
Right.
They just can't get it back there right now. It's going to go everywhere, all over their face, all over your face.
All over the floor.
Yeah. So another thing is you do not need to give them milk.
No.
Cow's
that's a good
milk. Any kind of milk that if you drink this in your house and you are all drinking it, that's fine. You don't have to go out and get milk specifically for your baby. Like you have that. You've already made milk for them. That's the only milk that your baby needs. The only thing that needs cow's milk is a baby cow.
Right.
The only thing that needs almond milk is a baby almond.
And now this is a good point because I actually wrote a letter for one of our listeners this week for her daycare because the baby's over a year.
Oh, did you write that letter? I saw the question.
Yep. I wrote the letter
awesome.
for her. And because her daycare, her baby's 17 months and she was still sending breast milk and they kept complaining and it's not enough and your baby needs more stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, like you don't have to send anything. The baby was nursing when she's home with her. I'm like, you can give her water. The baby does not need milk during the day. But there are a lot of daycares that once a baby turns a year, I hear this all the time from people. Once a baby turns a year, they can't have bottle anymore, which is fine. They can't have breast milk anymore. They want them to be on a whole milk or they want them to be on something different.
They are. I don't understand.
And it's like, you don't have to do that. If you don't want your baby to have whole milk, you don't have to send them with whole milk. You don't have to.
They should not even be allowed to have an opinion about what is in the bottle or the cup. That's ridiculous.
Right. Or how much of it is there.
Yeah, that's insane.
And the breast milk that she was getting when she was with her mother was enough for her.
Totally enough.
Along with her solids that she was eating. So you don't have to worry. You don't feel pressured to put your baby on another kind of milk just because they go to a daycare or because they're with a babysitter or whatever. Or because your mother says that they have to be on a different milk. Like they don't have to be. If they're still getting breast milk, they do not have to have a different kind of milk because they're a year old. We're the only species that does that. You don't have to do that. Yep. It's really okay. Yeah, it's really okay, especially if they're having lots of different foods. If they're good with different, dairy. A lot of times people say, well, they should have vitamin D milk because then they're getting vitamin D and they're getting calcium and they're getting iron. Well, if they're eating dairy, if they're eating yogurt, for example, or they're eating, foods that is covering those things, then no, you don't have to give them whole milk.
Yeah. Just because people really want to have some structure.
Mm-hmm.
Just to end, I'll say, start with whatever food you want to start with and start with it just once a day. Do that for a while, see how it goes. If that's like as much as you can manage for a while, that's fine. If you want to do it 2 times a day, that's cool. Don't worry about doing any more than that. And just do that for a couple of months.
Yeah.
You can do that for a couple of months. If they're really into it and they seem like they're getting it, they're enjoying something, you can move to like 3 or 4 times a day and just follow their lead. You can really follow their lead. If they're not into it by the time that they're a year and a half, and they're still not eating a lot of solids, don't panic. Jack didn't eat a significant amount of food until he was like 2 or older. He was really on breast milk, and that is okay. This is why these recommendations from these organizations say to breastfeed for at least 2 years, because this is a long process that they're going to be transitioning to solid foods. And the breast milk will provide them with so many nutrients that they need. And you'll be okay.
Your baby does not have any expectations. You guys are learning this together.
Yeah.
So just follow their lead. That's all there is to it.
Yep. So that's a lot. And of course, we didn't get to everything that there is to get to with solids because it's just an endless conversation. But if you have questions, let us know. We can always, do
another one. Yeah.
Expanded episodes somewhere down the line if people have questions that were not answered.
Absolutely.
And
Good
thanks for
luck.
listening.
Bye.
Bye.